Hello, this is Hydra coding challenge, the second one. And again, I want to pick artwork from this website called the Recode project, recodeproject.com. You can find it in the description. And briefly, introduction again, this is website that collects artworks, the scans of this magazine called Computer Graphics and Art from 1970s. And they basically attempted to recreate them with processing. And in the first video, I tried the one on the left. I don't know how to read it, but the work from Manuel Barbadillo, and that was a bit too ambitious, I would say. So in the next one, this time, I want to try something simpler, like maybe like these ones or these ones, because I'm using Hydra. So for example, like this one would be a little bit more difficult, like could be easier with processing P5.js, but I have to take that into account. So I would say like this one is maybe like a good example. There's already direct translation by Nick Santaniero, and wow, it's really nice. It's done with processing. I think it's like the old processing.js that's running on the browser. And yeah, I think it's quite simple if you think about it in processing. You just divide it into grid, make square, smaller square, smaller square, smaller square, and every grid has different kind of offset, which is, in case this is choose new offset, and then it looks like kind of fake 3D effect. So, but what I'm interested is this original one. So hopefully this works here. Yes, I have the copy in the corner and I open Hydra editor. So let's see what will come out. And the grid size, I don't know. Let's just keep it to like 5 by 5. And of course I have this weird aspect ratio issue. I don't know how to deal with this. Okay, first thing first. I will start with oscillator. Why? I think to make squares, there are different ways to do it. I think one way would be to like to overlay shape and shape and shape. But I feel it's a bit more elegant if you take just static oscillator. And because the white is more dominant, maybe like this. Could be even more. And then the trick is to use Calade 4. So that's already something a bit like one of the grid. Well, if you rotate it. So this is like 45 degrees, which is math divided, pi divided by 4. Voila. Here, I need to think, okay, I need to enlarge it just to see this one. How many squares are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Somehow it like completely, like perfectly fits in the corner. I don't know why, but it does. So I would just divide this by 5, which is 12, and multiply by 6, so it's 72, and it will fit magically. Magically. Yeah, like this. Good. I think it's a great start compared to the last one. I mean, not comparing, but yes, it's good to keep the video short. That's my point. And repeat. Let's say 5 by 5 grid. Oh, that's not good. So I don't know why, but I have this weird aliasing. Is it called aliasing? I don't know. Issue that I don't see the line clearly. And also, like, I'm kind of tired of this aspect ratio stuff. To fix aspect ratio, you can always like work with window, inner width and stuff. But the trick I use is, because I know that this is, I'm recording that fits in a frame of 1920 by 1080, so it's a 16 by 9 aspect ratio, and you can do something like this to fit it as a into a square. I don't know how to say it. Scale it back to the square. And I think this thresh could be a little bit bigger, so that lines get a bit thicker and it appears okay. Maybe I add a little bit of blurriness to it, which would give some kind of anti-aliasing effect. So that's great. I feel I can make this. Now what? I think the trick here is to... Oh, actually this is way more difficult than I thought. Because I thought just applying some kind of shifting to the whole grid. So what I wanted to do is take a noise, let's say noise, out, and then if you would just say pixelate 5 by 5, oops, 5 by 5, then you get this kind of, I don't know, grid. And then the idea I had was to modulate like this. And it doesn't work that way, because modulate is essentially like moving the pixels into the same direction, and as long as one grid has the same color, it's like shifting all together, and you know, like, it's hard to explain. But this is not what I want, that's clear. So how to make it into the way that I want? So this is actually quite tricky, because maybe I should start with something like without the whole repeat stuff. So what if I want to shift everything to make like, I don't know, like, it's like scroll X, but of course if you do scroll X, that's not what you want. The whole thing is scrolled. So the center has to be scrolled more, and the peripheral stays the same almost. So now, how do we do this? Actually, it might not be possible actually, because the first thing I thought was to somehow make kind of gradient that, I don't know. As you can see, I don't have any idea before starting this video, and that's problem. But something like this, because maybe not. I don't know. Kind of, because rotate. This is not a good sign that I'm becoming more quiet. That's not what you want to see. I should talk through, right? So this is something I just thought about, but it doesn't go completely black. R is taking from there. Ooh, this is hard. Or maybe I should just use shape. Of course, shape is like solid shape, but what if I make it like this? Then it has more intensity in the center. It's almost white. And then as you go to the peripheral, it becomes darker and darker. So what if I just modulate the whole thing with this? Uh-oh, that's not what I want. But why modulate? let's say just think about moving to the X direction, which is like essentially very similar to modulate scroll X, but I do it this way. And no, that's not what I wanted, because why? I don't know. Maybe it's the contrast? No, but I don't think it's going to be, no. Okay, that's super difficult. Now I have to think about some strategies. Like one could be doing this kind of like really math heavy approach, or another way would be to like just do it more in a like a handcraft way, so that draw shape, draw rectangle, draw rectangle, draw rectangle kind of thing. And at this point, I don't know which has more potential, let's say, because this is not really good. And I don't really understand why it's not working. Yeah, I don't know. Because modulate, shape, so they're like pushing pixels. What if I do this? Ooh, that's funny. Interesting, but not what I want. I mean, I could just do this. What do I mean? I could just take this sketch that was kind of failing, and the problem was that this noise thing was not applying the kind of, each grid should, in the center of each grid should move a lot, but the peripheral should stay the same, and that's not applied here. And that's probably what I can do with the same idea with mult. I suppose. Okay. Yeah, of course, because I have to do. So this shape masking, multing, needs to be repeated as well. So that's obviously not what I wanted, but it's kind of interesting. Yeah, it's not what I wanted, but it's doing something. I know everyone's going to be upset if I finish this video like this, but this is something interesting. And I could probably just thicken the lines a little bit because it's aliasing again, like this. So how can I improve this? The other problem I'm having right now is noise goes from -1 to 1. And of course, you don't see the color in noise. It's either, yeah, it's always grayscale. And that's a problem here, that modulate takes RGB, takes R and G. R for moving X, y, G for moving in the Y direction. And because noise is grayscale, it's always pushing to like a diagonal line, because X and Y, it's always the same because it's grayscale. I think I explained it in one of the tutorials. So if you are really curious, you can watch one of the tutorials. But basically what I want to do is I do this trick to kind of make the noise a bit more completely colorful. And I explained that in another tutorial, so I don't say much about it right now. And I think I need to get subgradient. Okay. Now it's even more weird. Maybe I can reduce the modulate a little bit. I mean, it's not good, but it's something. You know what? I feel that... Okay, so the problem here now I'm having is this shape thingy, I feel. This shape is like... has this weird profile if you look at it. Like, it's always this diagonal has more color into it. And I think I need to do something just like how I did with OSC. So if I do OSC Khaled, I get this thing. And especially like, I just copy it from here. If I rotate it, then I have this, which is not... Well, I still see this diagonal lines. I don't understand why. Thresh. But then you don't see diagonal thingy anymore. Now the problem is, I don't want oscillator. What I want is more like gradient. That is... But it looks like the same problem I'm having with the shape. And it feels like I just did the same thing again. Yeah, this looks like the same. Should I just repeat it? Oh, that's... Is that the same, you think? Maybe the contrast is a bit different, but it doesn't look that promising. But I can try. I can always try and then complain later. I know you don't see the whole thing. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's same. How can I make it so that... Oh, and I think the other problem is, this actually, I already thought about it before doing this. But even if the center is moved more, it will anyways somehow deform the shape. It's hard to explain, but the problem is with modulate is not that you want to move the pixel there, but it's referencing the pixel where it's supposed to be. So what I can do is... Actually, I don't want this uniform shape, but I need something that is already shifted. Like, this needs to be... I can just... Yeah, maybe this is a bit too redundant, but... I don't know, not R. Yeah, just R. Is... Wait, confused. So let's say I have this function, and yeah, so I want this to be already modulated by this thing. Does it make sense? I have no idea, actually. I'm getting into somewhere that is really weird. And I know that this won't work completely. So this is the same. I just replaced n, like a noise thingy, with this new function n. It does this. So I want, and I should replace this whole thingy with R. So now what I want is this R repeat, this whole grid thingy, modulated already by n pixelate 5.5 that is multiplied with R repeat. Wow. See, actually, we're getting closer. surprisingly. I think the thing here is that I just have to kind of chain this, which is very stupid. Because now you can actually, if I add more new lines, you can see that this n pixelate mode appears again, n pixelate mode. And then R repeat modulate, R repeat. So here I want to do this whole chain again, which is very stupid, but let's see. You don't see the code, yes, I know. But yeah, maybe I just make this a little bit smaller. Okay. Okay, it's actually not so bad. It's more like a approximation, because you probably need to chain this like forever and ever until you hit the pixel size, which is already kind of getting there. So it's actually not so bad. And then maybe I should change this noise a little bit more. And then you have a little bit more variety of it. And what would be super interesting is to animate this noise. Of course, it's not the way how it should be done. Okay, that's quite satisfying. I'm very surprised. It's the kind of approximation, and you would need to chain this more and more to get the perfect result. But yeah, this works, and you can also move these parameter like 5 into somewhere else. Like, well, I already used n, so maybe like m equals 5, and then if you do this m, I'm just doing this because then you would be able to also change. This won't change anything, but let's say I want 12. Then yeah, it's a little bit more complicated because of you hit this aliasing problem again. But then let's say I want smaller. It looks actually quite nice. And of course, you can change it like something easy, like array, to animate it. Yes. But I would say I like actually how it looks like with 3. Be careful, like just evaluating this line won't work, so you have to evaluate the whole thing. But yeah, it's not perfect, but it's a good approach. I mean, good enough in like what you can do with simple Hydra sketch, if you call this simple. I'm curious, what happens if you... Okay, I have to finish this soon, but what if you do it with shape? It's actually almost the same. Yeah, so maybe it's better for keeping it simpler, let's say it this way. Yeah. Well, actually, the last one was more closer to perfect. Yeah, it's very subtle, but I think this is nicer. And I can even modulate this a little bit more here. No, sorry, never mind. So keep this value small, and then this enough chaining, you can have actual approximation of shifting each grid, just like how it would do or how it would end up in processing, which is I didn't expect that it's going to be like this difficult, but it's also like quite satisfying to make something that's really close to the original artwork in the magazine. So thank you for watching, and I appreciate your feedback. If you have any comments, please write it in the chat or comment, and please subscribe, like the video. I really appreciate it. And also, as I said, I've been working a lot in Dortmund with Flor de Fuego. We'll releasing more videos about that too. Also, I'm going to Bogota from August, so if you have any recommendations, if you can help me with all kinds of things, I appreciate it. So please keep in touch. Let's keep in touch. Thank you so much.